So what Dustin just did is he's gonna scan the VIN in, what's the app called? What, AutoInk. And what he's gonna do is it's gonna come up with the MMR and all that stuff as far as what the car is valued at, what it's going at auction. Because you can use the tools, which are really, really helpful. CarGurus, Carfax, Auto Trader, to evaluate how much you can sell it for. But to get a good idea of how much you want to purchase it for, you want to look what they're going at auction. It helps a ton. But if you don't have access to that, like typically when I do flips, what I'll do is I'll just go on CarGurus and Carfax, and I'll see basically how much they are currently selling for. I'll take out $500 off of the great deal price, and then I take it down to $3,000, and I give a rough estimate. All right, so as we go and we're test driving the Mitsubishi Gallant, Dustin, what is one of the worst flips where you have purchased and lost money or not been made very much?
I would say about a 2002 Suburban out of upstate New York. Pictures were actually pretty blurry on the website. And I paid for a frame check. Well, their standards of what's a passable frame in New York is different than ours. We passed the frame check. I got it in. Took 2 weeks to get here. And I tapped the rear quarter with my boot as soon as I got here, and it just fell to pieces. And
it's okay. Dustin just honked at the fire chief. So, and we don't have a tag on the back while we test drive it, so that's completely fine. I'm sure nothing's going to happen.
It's good practice.
Yes, it is good practice. We're going to see what this thing can really do. All right, so you bought something from New York. Mm-hmm. It was super rusty. How much did you pay for it? Do you remember?
I think it was probably $4,500.
$4,500
to ship it.
So $5,500. And then you remember? Whoa, wow! And then somebody driving on the wrong side of the lane. You were getting current K-Ville, K-Vegas vibes already. Now, as long as we see somebody getting picked up for doing drugs, it'll be a complete test drive. All right. So you had like $5,500 in it. How much did you have to put in for repairs?
So I was driving it around. I was like, this thing's okay. It's just a little rusty, no big deal. And then I was putting gas in it one day, and while I was pumping, all I could smell was gas. And I looked down and I just see a big drip coming out from underneath. I'm like, oh God. So I take it back to the shop. I crawl under it. I see where the leak is coming from, and I put my hand in all the gas. So then I learned how to do fuel lines.
And how much did that cost you about?
It didn't cost that much time, but it probably took me about 2 weeks.
And time is money, especially when you're flipping cars. So at the end of the day, did you make any money on the thing? Or
Still sitting in my yard.
It's still sitting in his yard. That is a classic example of what not to do. So hindsight being 2020, what would you have done differently now knowing what you know for that vehicle? But besides obviously not buying it, like what would you have done to try to evaluate a little bit better?
Just not buy strictly online.
Yeah. Check the car out, especially when it's older, cheaper vehicles, unless you have a personal relationship with the seller and you know them well, you've done business before. You really want to be it in person. Because like he said, the pictures on the website were blurry. And then he even had quote unquote experts do a frame check. And that came out a bust because the thing was rusted and rotted, still in his parking lot. So, and Brad said this the other day as well, is you make the money on a car when you buy it. Okay, if you buy it too high, you're setting yourself up for failure. So generally, like I talk about, the 70-30 rule, 70% of what you have to invest, you want to put towards the vehicle, and you want to have another 30% left for repairs and miscellaneous crap, because I promise you it's going to happen. All right, stay tuned. We'll see how much this sucker's worth, and if they say yes, not to the dress, but I guess we need to come up with something kind of cool. Say yes to the car. I don't know. We'll figure it out. All right, so we test drove it. It actually drives pretty good. It does have some issues, but it drives well. So we're thinking $500 if they just want the cash, and if they need this to go towards the vehicle, we'll go up to $1,000. And then what do you think we're going to sell it for, or try to sell it for?
$29.99.
Yeah, I was going to say 3 G's. So in theory, we'd be making profit around up to $2,500. Realistically, we're going to have to do some stuff to this, so I'm going to say 2 G's ish. But we shall see if they say yes to the car, even though it doesn't rhyme. So, caveat, we just got back from the test drive. You probably can't tell, but the brakes are smoking. Dustin could smell it. We came out here and the brakes are smoking. That's not also a good sign. So maybe we might reevaluate how much we're gonna offer on this bad boy, if anything at all. All right, so good news, bad news. We're gonna find out whether it's bad news or good news. We pitched them at 500, negotiated for about 10-15 minutes, back and forth, and we ended up at $700. So we got this for $700. We're gonna try to retail it for right around $2,999 and see what happens. My guess is this is gonna sit for around 90 days because this has to be the perfect customer. We need something really bad and they're desperate to get from point A to point B, because people eat with their eyes. They're gonna look at that. It does not look so pretty, but we're gonna see what we can do. We kind of gambled on this one.